Have you ever wondered what truly brings fulfillment and peace as you navigate the later chapters of your life? Imagine shedding the habits and commitments that no longer serve you, and embracing a life rich with joy, balance, and meaningful connections. After turning 60, I embarked on a transformative journey, quitting 11 things holding me back from living my best life. In this video, I'll share these profound changes and reveal how letting go can lead to greater happiness, improved health, and a deeper sense of purpose. Whether you're approaching this milestone or enjoying your golden years, you'll discover actionable insights and inspiring stories to help you redefine your path. Stay with me until the end to learn how you too can create a more fulfilling and peaceful life by making intentional, empowering choices. Let's embark on this journey together and unlock the secrets to a happier, healthier you after 60. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. 1. Quitting work for the sake of working. In the fervor of youth, it's all too easy to become ensnared by the relentless pressure of work. The pull of climbing the career ladder, the desire to prove ourselves, and the unyielding quest for financial stability often overshadow everything else. I too was once swept up in this cycle, distracted by the glow of ambition, believing that the more hours I poured into my job, the greater the reward I would reap. But as the years passed and I turned 60, something profound shifted within me. The incessant grind, the endless pursuit of more, began to feel hollow. I realized that working simply for the sake of being busy or continuing out of a long-standing habit no longer nourished my spirit or served any greater purpose. The endless hustle, once a badge of honor, had taken a steep toll on my body and mind, draining me of vitality and leaving me disconnected from the things that truly mattered. The pressure to produce, to never stop, had consumed my joy. As the years have unfolded, I've come to understand a truth that can only be grasped with the wisdom of age. That relentless drive for productivity, when untethered from meaning or purpose, is a thief of the soul. The hard-earned lessons of my life have shown me that more hours of labor do not equate to more fulfillment, more happiness, or even more success. The pursuit of an endless stream of achievements can strip away the very essence of life, the quiet moments of joy, the warmth of shared laughter, the peace of simply being present. The insatiable hunger for more often erodes the quality of what truly matters. Now, I approach work with a newfound intentionality. Each day, I pause to ask myself, why am I working these extra hours? What am I truly working toward? If the work isn't enriching my soul, or contributing to a purpose that fuels my passion and brings me closer to my deeper goals, then I choose to step away. I've come to realize that time spent in pursuit of joy, nurturing relationships, or immersing myself in passions that bring me peace and fulfillment is worth infinitely more than hours spent behind a desk, chasing fleeting numbers or empty accolades. This shift has been nothing short of transformative. It's brought me a deep sense of balance and a richness of life that I had unknowingly sacrificed in my younger years. I no longer let the pursuit of financial gain come at the expense of my well-being, my health, or the precious moments with loved ones. Now, I cherish the simple, quiet moments. I savor the beauty of life outside the office, the conversations, the laughter, the slow unfolding of time spent with those who matter most. I've found a peace I had long forgotten, and in this peace, I have rediscovered what it truly means to live, rather than just exist. 2. Quitting mindless spending. In a world dominated by consumerism, it's all too easy to get swept up in the relentless tide of buying things we don't truly need. For years, I was trapped in this cycle, purchasing items out of sheer habit, driven by the false belief that they would somehow make me happier or more fulfilled. I thought that new clothes, gadgets, or even random trinkets could fill the emptiness I felt inside, only to find that the joy they brought me was fleeting, a temporary rush that soon faded away. With each purchase, I convinced myself that it was a step closer to happiness, but in reality, I was just masking an underlying emptiness with superficial possessions. As I've grown older, however, I've come to realize that material goods rarely, if ever, provide lasting contentment. They offer a momentary distraction, but never a deep sense of peace or true satisfaction. The root of this mindless spending often lies in our deep desire to fill an emotional void or to keep up with the ever-pressing expectations society places upon us. We buy things not because we need them, but because we're searching for something more, something that will finally bring us joy, status, or a sense of belonging. The truth is, I was trying to soothe my insecurities, to compensate for the things I felt were lacking in my life. But all it did was deepen my sense of dissatisfaction, leaving me with a mountain of things I didn't need and a heart that still felt empty. Today, I've made a conscious decision to break free from this pattern. I no longer indulge in mindless purchases that are driven by impulse or external pressures. Instead, I make intentional, thoughtful choices about where I invest my money. Each purchase is now a reflection of what truly matters to me, whether it's an experience that nourishes my soul or a carefully considered product that genuinely enhances my quality of life. I've learned that true joy doesn't come from accumulating things, but from enriching moments and connections that make life meaningful. This shift in perspective has been nothing short of transformative. Not only have I found myself saving more financially, but I've also developed a deeper awareness of the things that truly bring me happiness, peace, and fulfillment. No longer do I let the world dictate what I should want or need. Now, I am the one in control, and my heart is lighter for it. 3. Quitting stressing over the small stuff. Life, with all its fleeting moments, is far too precious to be consumed by worries over things that ultimately fade into insignificance. In the restless days of my younger years, I found myself endlessly overwhelmed by the smallest of inconveniences. Traffic jams that made my blood boil, tense disagreements with colleagues that left me feeling defeated, or even something as trivial as tripping over my own 2 feet. I'd let these little irritations dominate my thoughts, as though they held the power to define my day, my mood, and even my very sense of self-worth. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But as I entered my 60s, the years of experience and quiet reflection began to gift me something far more valuable than any material possession: clarity. Slowly but surely, I began to recognize that the things I had once stressed over were, in the grand tapestry of life, mere blips, fleeting, insignificant, and unworthy of the mental energy I had so recklessly given them. I began asking myself a simple but profound question: will this matter a year from now? If the answer was no, and more often than not, it was, then I allowed myself the freedom to release it, to let it drift away like a leaf carried by the wind. The more I surrendered to this realization, the lighter I became. I stopped pouring my precious energy into things beyond my control, those unseen forces that only served to drain me and rob me of the sweet, untainted joy of the present moment. There was a quiet revolution inside me. I began to focus not on what I couldn't change, but on what I could. I embraced the art of acceptance, recognizing that some battles were simply not mine to fight. The shift in perspective was nothing short of liberating. Life, instead of feeling like a relentless storm of concerns, became a calmer, more anchored experience. A beautiful dance between what I could influence and what I had to let go. Now, each day feels like a gift, free from the unnecessary weight of trivial worries. I approach life's inevitable challenges with a newfound calmness and a sense of grounded peace, knowing that I have the power to choose my battles and the wisdom to know when to simply let it be. 4. Quitting neglecting self-care. For the majority of my life, self-care was a distant concept, something I viewed as a luxury rather than a necessity. I believed that to be a responsible, caring person, I had to constantly prioritize the needs of others, work, family, and endless responsibilities, above my well-being. I thought that by selflessly giving, I was fulfilling my purpose. But with each passing year, I felt a growing emptiness, a quiet exhaustion that no amount of external effort could fill. Deep down, I knew something was missing. The turning point came when I reached 60, a milestone that forced me to confront the reality that neglecting myself had taken its toll. It was as though a light had finally been switched on, and in that moment, I realized with startling clarity that self-care is not an act of selfishness. It's an absolute necessity. It's about replenishing my spirit, nurturing my mind, and caring for my body, so I can truly show up as my best self in every area of my life. The path to reclaiming my well-being wasn't immediate, but I took it one step at a time, and each step felt like a small, yet significant victory. The first change I made was to prioritize sleep, something I had long neglected in my relentless pursuit of productivity. I created a soothing bedtime routine, an oasis of calm before the storm of sleep, where I could truly rest and allow my body and mind to recharge. Sleep became my sanctuary, a precious gift that I had once denied myself. Next, I turned my attention to nutrition. No longer was I mindlessly eating for convenience or habit. Instead, I became intentional about what I fed my body. I chose nourishing, vibrant foods that replenished my energy rather than depleting it, and with each meal, I began to feel more alive and more connected to my body. I started to see food not just as fuel, but as a source of vitality, a means of honoring the incredible vessel that carries me through life. Exercise, too, became a cornerstone of my self-care journey. What had once felt like a chore transformed into a celebration of what my body could do. Whether it was a brisk walk in the morning air or a gentle stretch at sunset, the movement became a joyful practice, a reaffirmation of my strength and resilience. It was no longer about achieving a goal or meeting an expectation. It was about embracing my body, honoring its capabilities, and rejoicing in the gift of movement. Mental and emotional well-being became just as essential. I discovered the transformative power of meditation and mindfulness, practices that allowed me to quiet the noise in my mind, center myself, and cultivate a sense of peace amidst the chaos of life. Meditation helped me reconnect with my inner self, while mindfulness taught me to stay present, to embrace each moment without judgment, and to release the anxieties that had once consumed me. Journaling also became a sacred practice, a way to process my thoughts and emotions in a safe, non-judgmental space. Each time I put pen to paper, I felt a sense of release, of clarity, as if the weight of my feelings had been lifted. It gave me a fresh perspective on life, allowing me to see things through a lens of gratitude, rather than stress or frustration. Most importantly, I learned the power of setting boundaries, something I had always struggled with. Saying no didn't make me unkind or unworthy, it made me strong. It allowed me to protect my time, my energy, and my peace of mind. I began to prioritize my needs, and in doing so, I discovered that I had so much more to give. By caring for myself, I was better able to care for others, and my relationships flourished as a result. In embracing self-care, I found not only a path to physical and emotional well-being, but a deeper connection to myself and a renewed sense of purpose. It became clear to me that taking care of myself isn't just about pampering or indulgence. It's about honoring the person I've become and nurturing the person I'm still growing into. 5. Quitting overcommitting to others. For years, I found myself trapped in a cycle of overcommitting to others. I had a deep-rooted fear of letting people down, of facing their disappointment or the sting of unmet expectations. It was as if my sense of self-worth was tangled up in my ability to say yes to every invitation, every favor, every event that came my way. I took pride in being a dependable friend, a supportive family member, and a reliable colleague. I convinced myself that I had to always be there for everyone else, often at the expense of my own needs and desires. But despite my best intentions, something began to shift within me. Slowly, but with growing certainty, I started to realize that this constant self-sacrifice was not only draining but was quietly eroding my well-being. Turning 60 was a turning point, an awakening that came with a profound clarity. For the first time, I understood the power of saying no. This simple act, which had once seemed impossible, became a tool of liberation. I realized that my time, my energy, and my peace were precious. I had every right to guard them, to choose how I spent them without feeling guilty. Saying no didn't make me selfish or cold, it made me wise. It was an act of self-respect, a declaration that I, too, deserved to be nurtured. The more I embraced this new perspective, the more my sense of empowerment grew. I stopped saying yes out of fear or obligation, and instead, I began to say yes to the things that truly mattered. I learned to surround myself with people and commitments that nourished me and made me feel alive, supported, and valued. And with that, my world became more vibrant and authentic. This shift was more than just a behavior change. It was a transformation of my inner self. I began to reclaim my time, my energy, and my peace of mind. In choosing to let go of the constant pressure to please everyone, I opened the door to a deeper sense of balance, joy, and fulfillment. No longer bound by the weight of others' expectations, I found myself able to focus on the relationships and pursuits that genuinely brought me happiness. It wasn't just about saying no, it was about learning to say yes to me, to my well-being, and to the things that truly filled my heart. This change has been nothing short of life-changing. The more I honor my own needs, the richer my life has become, and the more I've come to understand that prioritizing myself is not a loss, but a profound gain. 6. Quitting and maintaining unhealthy relationships. For much of my life, I clung to relationships out of habit or a sense of duty. Whether they were with friends, colleagues, or even family, I believed that I had to maintain these connections, as though the mere passage of time or shared history were enough to justify their existence. I kept investing in relationships that had long ceased to bring me joy or fulfillment, remaining entangled in emotional webs that left me feeling drained and depleted. I realized, only too late, that I had been holding on to these ties not out of genuine connection, but out of a heavy sense of obligation and a fear of letting go. As I approached the milestone of turning 60, something within me began to shift. It was as though a veil had been lifted, and I suddenly saw with startling clarity that life was far too precious, far too fleeting, to squander on relationships that no longer nourished my soul. I came to understand, in the deepest part of my being, that my time, energy, and heart were too valuable to be wasted on people who left me feeling empty, unsupported, or even worse, hurt. With this newfound wisdom, I began to sever ties with individuals who had become toxic forces in my life, those who drained my energy, disrespected my boundaries, or contributed nothing but negativity. It was an excruciating process, one filled with painful realizations and the bittersweet mourning of years spent in relationships that had once seemed irreplaceable. Letting go was not a simple task. Some of these relationships had spanned decades, woven deeply into the fabric of my life, and the emotional weight of severing them was immeasurable. But with every painful step of release, I felt lighter, freer. I came to understand that maintaining unhealthy relationships was like carrying an endless load of unnecessary, burdensome baggage. It wore me down, draining my spirit and preventing me from moving forward with the energy and vitality I so desperately needed. The weight of these toxic connections had kept me tethered to the past, holding me back from embracing the present, stepping into the fullness of who I was meant to be. The decision to let go was not born of anger or resentment, but of deep self-respect. I chose to prioritize the relationships that truly enriched my life, those that filled my heart with love, uplifted me in times of struggle, and celebrated my victories with genuine joy. I began to nurture the bonds that brought me peace, laughter, and a sense of belonging, the connections that filled me with a profound sense of gratitude and fulfillment. These were the relationships that mirrored my values: honesty, kindness, and mutual respect, and they became the foundation of the life I now cherish. Letting go of unhealthy relationships has been a transformative act of self-love and self-care. It has allowed me to create space for more authentic, meaningful connections. The journey hasn't been without its challenges, but the rewards have been immeasurable. I now walk with a renewed sense of purpose, surrounded only by those who bring out the best in me, and who, in turn, allow me to bring out the best in them. It's a gift that I will never again take for granted. 7. Quitting neglecting my physical and mental health. For far too long, I allowed the demands of work, family, and a never-ending list of responsibilities to overshadow the one thing that mattered most: my health. Like many others, I told myself that I would focus on my well-being later, when life slowed down or when I could finally carve out time for myself. But as the years passed, I realized that later never came. It wasn't until I reached the milestone of turning 60 that the harsh truth hit me. Time had run out, and I could no longer afford to ignore my health. The phrase "health is wealth" may seem like a simple truism, a cliché repeated so often that it loses its impact. But as I grew older, its weight became undeniable. In the end, health isn't just wealth, it's everything. Without it, all the things I once took for granted, the joy of laughter, the thrill of adventure, the ability to move freely through life, suddenly feel distant, almost unattainable. For years, I had prioritized everything else: my career, my family, my obligations, over the very vessel that carried me through it all. I pushed my physical and mental health to the back burner, thinking there would always be time to catch up. But now, I understood the profound reality that taking care of myself wasn't a luxury or a selfish indulgence. It was a necessity for truly experiencing the richness of life. If I wanted to continue savoring the simple pleasures, like the warmth of a hug, the laughter of my children, and the beauty of a sunset, I had to begin by giving my body and mind the attention they so desperately needed. I started with something simple yet transformative: regular exercise. What seemed like a small, manageable step, daily morning walks, has become a sacred ritual. It's not just about getting my body moving. It's about feeling the crisp morning air, listening to the whisper of the wind through the trees, and reconnecting with nature in a way I hadn't in years. Those walks have become more than a physical practice. They are a time for me to pause, to reflect, to feel a deep sense of gratitude for my life and the strength I still possess. The act of walking combats the inevitable physical decline that comes with aging, maintaining muscle mass, improving mobility, and simply keeping my body functional. But it's also a sanctuary for my mind. With each step, I shed the burdens of daily stress and clear the fog of anxiety, making space for mental clarity and peace. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Yet, I soon realized that caring for my body was only one piece of the puzzle. The mental toll of neglecting myself for so long had left its scars, and I had to find ways to heal those wounds too. I began to explore mindfulness and meditation, tools that had always seemed foreign to me before but were now essential for my emotional well-being. Sitting in stillness, focusing on my breath, and cultivating a sense of gratitude have become transformative practices in my daily life. These moments of mindfulness don't just calm my mind. They nurture my soul, helping me reclaim a sense of inner peace that had been lost amidst the chaos of my earlier years. Through this journey, I've come to understand that health is not just about the absence of illness. It's about nurturing the body, mind, and spirit as interconnected parts of a whole. It's about choosing to honor my well-being, to love myself enough to prioritize my needs. And most importantly, it's about realizing that life, in all its beauty and imperfection, is a gift that deserves to be lived fully, mindfully, joyfully, and healthfully. 8. Quitting procrastination on personal goals. As the years pass, time seems to slip through our fingers faster than we could ever anticipate. The dreams and ambitions we once clung to with fervor begin to fade into the background, like echoes of a life that feels increasingly out of reach. For far too long, I held off on pursuing the personal projects that stirred my soul and the adventures that ignited my heart, convincing myself that there would always be another day, another opportunity to act. The years seemed infinite, and so did my list of somedays. But then, turning 60 hit me with an overwhelming force, like a jolt of clarity. It was as though the universe had pressed a pause button, forcing me to confront the reality I had been evading for so long. I was no longer a young dreamer with all the time in the world. Time had become my most precious, finite resource. That milestone was my awakening, a brutal yet beautiful reminder that waiting for the perfect moment might be the cruelest illusion of all. I came to understand that the perfect moment would never come. It was always just beyond reach, an excuse I hid behind for years. But now, at this turning point in my life, I understood that if I didn't act now, I would lose the very chance to experience everything I had once yearned for. I chose to silence the voice of procrastination that had dictated my choices for so long. I made a conscious decision to stop putting off the things that filled my heart with longing. Whether it was diving into the thrill of learning a new skill, exploring new corners of the world that had always captivated my imagination, or finally bringing to life a long-forgotten project, I no longer allowed hesitation to rule me. Every step I took, no matter how small, was an affirmation of my power to change, to seize what was mine to experience, and to embrace the fullness of life that was slipping away with each passing day. There was no longer any room for later in my vocabulary. Instead, I leaned into the belief that the best time to begin anything is always now. This transformation in my mindset has been nothing short of liberating. No longer chained to the myth of perfect timing, I've permitted myself to start, to fail, and to try again. It has been a journey of rediscovery, each small goal, whether it was taking a daring leap into the unknown or simply checking off something I had postponed for years, filling me with a profound sense of achievement. These accomplishments, however simple they seemed, have become the lifeblood of my newfound confidence. They've reminded me that the act of starting is often the hardest but most important part of any dream. What I have come to know with certainty is this: life does not wait for us. Time does not slow down because we are afraid or uncertain. It is relentlessly moving forward, with or without us. As we grow older, the clock seems to tick faster, and yet we still have the power to shape the moments that remain. The window may be smaller, but it is never closed, unless we choose to let it be. Time doesn't stop for us, but if we take action now, we can make the most of the moments that are still ours to claim. The regrets of what if have no place in my life anymore. Time is too precious. So, I've chosen to live it with urgency, with intention, and with a fierce belief that it's never too late to make the life you want to live a reality. 9. Quitting the fear of change. For much of my life, the idea of change haunted me. I feared it with deep, visceral anxiety, unsure of what it would bring and terrified of losing the comfort of the familiar. Change, to me, was a threat, a wild, uncontrollable force that could shatter the fragile sense of stability I had carefully crafted. Whether in my health, relationships, career, or personal growth, I clung to what was known and safe, even when it no longer served me. The very thought of stepping into the unknown felt overwhelmingly risky and filled me with dread. I resisted the natural flow of life, clinging to outdated habits and beliefs, avoiding the discomfort that change inevitably brought. And yet, as I entered my 60s, a profound realization slowly began to take root in me. Change is not my enemy, but my greatest ally. What if I could embrace change instead of running from it? I asked myself this question over and over, as if searching for a spark of courage buried deep within. The more I reflected, the more I understood that change is not a chaotic force to be feared, but a divine invitation. An invitation to evolve, to learn, and to step into new chapters of my life with open arms. Life is, after all, an endless series of transitions. Each one, though daunting at first, carries the potential for transformation. An opportunity to experience life in its fullness, to open up to the new, and to discover parts of myself I never knew existed. I started to see change as an exhilarating adventure rather than a threat. It became something to look forward to, rather than something to avoid. The prospect of change, once a source of anxiety, now felt like the promise of growth and reinvention. Whether it was adjusting to shifts in my health, recalibrating my expectations in relationships, or navigating the unpredictable tides of my career, I learned to meet each transition with curiosity rather than dread. I stopped seeing change as a challenge to overcome, but as an opportunity to grow, to adapt, and to redefine myself. The freedom that came with embracing change has been nothing short of liberating. I have let go of old patterns, outdated beliefs, and limiting mindsets that once held me back. Doing so, I've welcomed new opportunities, new experiences, and a renewed sense of self that feels lighter, more expansive, and more authentic. No longer do I feel shackled by fear of the unknown. Instead, I greet the future with excitement, knowing that each change, no matter how small, brings with it the possibility of something beautiful, something transformative. With each change I embrace, I discover a fresh sense of excitement, a spark of anticipation that ignites within me. It's like setting off on a thrilling journey where the road ahead is uncharted, but filled with boundless possibilities. Change is not something to resist or fight against. It is a chance to grow, to stretch the limits of what I thought possible, and to step into new realms of self-discovery and fulfillment. The fear that once gripped my heart has been replaced by a deep, unwavering trust in the process of life itself. Now, more than ever, I understand that change is not just an inevitable part of life. It is the very essence of life, constantly inviting us to shed the old, embrace the new, and continue growing in ways we never imagined. 10. Quitting irregular sleep patterns. In my younger years, sleep was something I never truly valued. It was so easy to overlook, so easy to trade it for late-night work sessions, weekend socializing, or mindless TV marathons that seemed to promise temporary pleasure. I was caught in a cycle of restlessness, convinced that sleep could always wait and that there was always something more pressing to do. I didn't realize, not at the time, just how deeply this neglect would impact me until I entered my 60s. By then, the toll was undeniable. Sleep deprivation didn't just take a physical toll on my body. It seeped into every corner of my life, dragging down my mood, draining my energy, and leaving me sluggish and irritable. It was clear that the price of neglecting sleep was far too high. As we age, the importance of sleep becomes all the more crucial. It's not just a luxury or a frivolous indulgence. It's a vital process that allows our bodies to repair and regenerate. Sleep is the quiet, unseen foundation upon which every day is built, and without it, we find ourselves withering, incapable of functioning at our full potential. When I finally understood this truth, it was as if a light bulb flickered on in the dark corners of my mind. I could no longer afford to ignore the damage I had done to myself over the years. The wake-up call came far too late, but at least it came. I realized that I had spent years running on fumes, pushing myself beyond my limits, never allowing my body the rest it so desperately needed. And so, I decided to make a change, an intentional, life-altering decision to prioritize sleep. I committed to a routine, embracing the quiet discipline of going to bed early and waking up refreshed. Gone were the late nights, and the hasty decisions to sacrifice sleep for productivity. Instead, I chose to rest. I chose peace. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Since making sleep a cornerstone of my self-care routine, the difference has been nothing short of transformative. No longer do I wake up groggy, disoriented, or in a fog of irritability. Instead, I rise with a sense of purpose, a clarity of mind, and an energy that propels me forward into each new day. The fog has lifted, and in its place, I find myself more focused, more balanced, and deeply grounded in the present moment. Sleep, that seemingly simple act, has given me something priceless: the ability to live my life with vigor and joy. It has restored my sense of well-being, rejuvenated my body and mind, and most importantly, it has allowed me to embrace life fully, with all its beautiful complexities. Now, every night, when I slip into bed, I am reminded that sleep is not a luxury, it is a gift. It is a precious act of self-love and self-respect, a moment to nourish my body and soul so that I can step into tomorrow with the strength and clarity to take on whatever comes my way. Sleep has given me a second chance at living. Not just existing, but truly living. 11. Quitting comparing myself to others. As the years have passed and I've gained more wisdom, I've come to a profound realization. Comparison is the thief of joy. In my younger days, I was often consumed by the habit of measuring myself against others, whether it was their career achievements, the material wealth they flaunted, or their flawless physical appearance. It felt as if every step I took was not my own but a reflection of someone else's path. And with each comparison, the sting of inadequacy grew sharper, the dissatisfaction deeper. I was forever chasing a standard that wasn't even mine, and in doing so, I lost sight of what truly mattered: my value, my journey. But then, as I approached my 60th year, something within me began to shift. The weight of comparison that had once weighed heavily on my heart began to lighten, and I realized that I didn't need anyone's approval or validation to feel worthy. I stopped looking outward for measures of success and started to look inward. For the first time, I began to see my life as uniquely my own, flawed, imperfect, yet beautifully mine. I came to understand that there is no singular definition of success or happiness, no universal roadmap that we all must follow. Each person's path is entirely different, shaped by their struggles, triumphs, and choices. What truly matters is how we view ourselves, how we define our worth, based on our values and accomplishments, not through the lens of someone else's achievements. Letting go of the need to compare myself to others has been nothing short of liberating. It has freed me from the endless cycle of self-doubt and has allowed me to cherish the life I've built, not in comparison to others, but for what it truly is, a collection of unique experiences and personal victories. I've learned to appreciate my journey, with all its highs and lows, its triumphs and setbacks, as an expression of who I am and who I've become. I no longer measure my worth by what others have or do. Instead, I find joy in the simple, profound beauty of my path, the moments of quiet achievement, the peace that comes from self-acceptance, and the profound sense of contentment that arises when I finally embrace the truth. My life is enough, just as it is. As I reflect on my journey, I realize how important it is to embrace our paths, free from the burden of comparison. It's not about measuring our worth against others, but about celebrating our unique journey, with all its triumphs and challenges. We are all on our journey to happiness, success, and fulfillment. So, what have you learned from this video? Is there something that resonated with you deeply, a lesson you feel could transform the way you approach life? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please take a moment to comment below and share one thing you've learned and plan to bring into your own life moving forward. And if you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for being here.